All right, this is a replacement for lurex3, which is discontinued by the Mosquito Magnet company. This is a 3D printed part, can be found on Thingiverse. I'm going to try to include some links to all this stuff, where I found it at, if I can find the links back. So you can find all of this stuff that you need to make this on eBay and Amazon, and I will try to include the links of where I got this. I got this a couple years ago. Haven't used it very much because the mosquito magnets haven't been working. Link to videos on how I fixed that and all that stuff in the video description and also up here. Anyway, I keep all this stuff in here in separate little baggies because if you don't get the lids completely tight, sometimes it leaks a little bit. And then I keep all that in a baggie, and I keep this in a baggie outside of that so that this doesn't get wet and I'm unable to read it. Anyway, what I'm going to do is mix this stuff together according to this instruction sheet, and that is very simple. I'm not going to really go into great detail on that, but you got to find the cornstarch and the lactic acid. Oh yeah, not pictured here is cornstarch because right now I don't have any cornstarch, so I'm just using some flour. This is the lactic acid that I am using, and you can see if it leaks, it deteriorates the label. So anyway, also you probably don't want to mix this stuff in your house. It does smell quite powerful, all of this stuff. Just keep adding very small amounts. You want this to be pretty thick so it doesn't just fall out of the holes. So while I'm packing this lactic acid mix into this, I cover the holes with tape. I just take a piece of packing tape, wrap that on around there, put a little fold on the end so it's easy to take back off. And of course it doesn't cover all the holes, so I need a second strip to cover the bottom of the holes. You could leave the bottom holes open if you wanted to, because it's going to be really hard to pack it all the way to the bottom. Starting it down in there. I didn't mix a whole lot of this. I've got a halfway empty propane tank, so it's probably not going to run very long anyway, but I don't know if this is cheating or not. I got a big punch and helped shove it on down in there. Get the last little bit of this in there and then move on to the next part. Piece of paper rolled into a funnel. Ammonium bicarbonate. One big spoonful fills that guy right up. And it has left-handed threads on it, so every time I grab it, I'm trying to turn it the wrong way. Take the tape off. This is alcohol C9, non-aisle alcohol, however you pronounce that. And I also bought this, I think, off Amazon some time ago for a different project. Just says you need to put a couple drops of this in here. And I would say, being as this is just liquid, if you want to keep your mosquito catch up, you might want to add some more of that later. I haven't really tested to see how well this stuff adds to the catch. I've printed several of these laying flat on the build plate, and they always break off because the layer lines are running this way on the 3D print. This one, as you can see, it has a flat side on it. I laid it flat. I had to sink it into the build plate a little bit to get this one to line up, but I lined up the inner piece and rotated it just a little bit so the little tabs don't line up anymore, and it's all locked together as one piece, but it printed this way. We're going to see how this works out. I'll let you know in the comments or the video description how well these last with the layer lines running this way. Still functions perfectly fine, but anyway, link to my Thingiverse page where I did this so you can kind of see some diagrams of it and stuff, but easy enough to do if you're into 3D printing. Now let's put this thing together. and maybe I'll show some test footage of it actually catching mosquitoes, if it catches any this year. All right, so this is our test area. As you can see, it's an older neighborhood, lots of trees and woods and stuff, so yep. It fell off again, I had it taped on there. I've marked where the slots are on this one. Ooh. Yeah, that's very snug going up in there. Fits nice and tight. Let's go over here to the business side of the operation. Man. Doesn't really look like it's caught very many. Yeah. There was damn near that many of them in there within the first couple hours. I don't know if my son has emptied this or not. Of course, like I say, the attractant did fall off, so that probably didn't help anything. All right, I'm not going to hook up a microphone here. I'm just changing over from the homebrew to Octenol, and I'm going to check and see what the catch was like over the past 4 or 5 days. Whoops. Not very impressive. That is about 4 days, 5 days worth of catch, and there's a few in there, but nothing great. Yeah, I got some down in that corner, some down there. And then the wind came and blew some of them away. So I'd say half a dozen or more blew away, but not a very impressive catch. All right, so it's been about 5 days with Octenol, and I'm looking inside here, and basically the catch is nothing. I think I saw 2 in here. So now we're gonna go with Atrakta and see how much we catch out here with a little more wilderness. All right, this is about 4 days with Atrakta in it, and it was moved from over there over to here a couple days ago. But let's see how the Atrakta's been doing. Oh, I see mosquitoes buzzing around the unit. Oh yeah. Yes, so I can say that the Atrakta works far better than the Octenol or the homebrew lurex3. The homebrew lurex3 and the Octenol hardly attract any mosquitoes, and this is 3 days, and it's really hard to see, but there's quite a few in there. Yeah, I think it's been 3 days. This is Monday. We set this up Friday night. So yeah, it's working. It'll thin them out. Well, out of the 3, the Atrakta seemed to do the best. The homemade lurex3 did an alright job. It caught a few mosquitoes, but the Atrakta does do a better job. The lures only last 16 days, so that could get rather expensive. And the Octenol that I used for this test didn't seem to attract any more than just a bare mosquito magnet trap. Well, that's the conclusion of my tests. Hopefully this helps somebody out. If you do any tests of your own or you have any ideas, let me know. Go kill them mosquitoes.